Hey, you ever get that feeling there's something in the dark watching you? If you're like me, you can't look away. That's why I want to tell you about Creepy Shit. It's the podcast that dives into the strange, the haunted, the downright unholy, true crime that never got answers, folklore that refuses to die, and stories that cling to you long after you're done listening. Every week you're invited to sit by the fire with the rest of us creepers and hear something you'll want to share in a hushed voice. So if you're ready to explore things that might go bump in the night and things that don't make a sound at all, subscribe to Creepy Shit Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Join us. We've been waiting for you. Canadian Creepies is recorded on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, under the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. These lands and waters have been cared for since long before Canada existed, and they remain deeply important to Indigenous communities today. As we tell stories about darkness, injustice, and memory, I want to acknowledge the very real histories of colonization, violence, and erasure that Indigenous peoples continue to endure. A land acknowledgement can't undo that harm, but it is a reminder to keep listening, learning, and supporting in truth and reconciliation in meaningful ways. We share these stories not to forget, but to shine light, always with respect for peoples and nations whose land we live on. Canadian Creepies covers true crime, dark history, and disturbing events. Some episodes may include graphic descriptions or sensitive subject matter. We do our best to handle every story with care and respect for those affected. That said, we sometimes use humor and sarcasm as a way to process heavy content, never to disrespect victims, survivors, or their families. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Canadian Creepies. I'm Valerie.
And I'm Amanda Joy.
And this is Barbara Stoppel, the case of Barbara Stoppel, part 2. I think we'll probably just get right into it.
There's a lot to cover.
There's a lot to cover.
Thank you, researcher Christine.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for us. You are so great. This is your song. Don't clip that.
Musical break.
Yeah, Christine is our researcher, and she started her own Facebook page, Instagram, so she can do her own personalized posts, which is wonderful. So that's Canadian Creepies researcher. Follow.
I dig it. I am following.
You are.
You guys, check her out.
Check it out. We're a team of 3. With Kyle and Allie, we're a team of 5.
I'm trying to think of what significant that is. 5 is usually conflict in tarot.
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, Daisy's 6.
There we go.
Arrow's 7.
Our mascots.
Okay, potatoes 8. Okay, so I guess we'll just pick up right where we left off. Mm-hmm. If you haven't listened to part 1, you're going to have to listen to part 1. I'm not really going to do a recap. We're just going to
There's a lot.
We're going to hop right back into it.
We left off, I believe, talking about
Thomas Safino
and how he was arrested, why he was arrested,
because he thought he saw a missing girl, and then called to give police information about that, and they were like, "This is the guy. He's been doing the bad things, or he did the bad thing to Barbara." So his car did not break down, only in Medicine Hat on the trip back to Vancouver. So it broke down more than once, I guess.
Yeah, because he was driving to Mexico. Was going to drive to Mexico.
Right. So he got a little mixed up.
From Alberta, Canada.
Yes.
And
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Because he was upset he couldn't see his daughter.
Yes. So these falsehoods would have made police consider him as being deceptive. So because he didn't know exactly where he stopped, and because it was multiple times, and because he was going to Mexico and turned around and did all this and that, I believe that would be why the police would think he is deceptive, when really he's just like emotionally distraught.
Right.
He's like, why is this happening?
He was already emotionally distraught during that trip. He was upset that he couldn't see his daughter for Christmas, dropped off her gifts. Mom was like, nope, turn around. And so like Christmas is a depressed season for a lot of people, as it is. Big feelings. Like, he was probably just going through the motions, just driving along, stopping off at Tim Hortons,
stopping at a coffee shop, getting a coffee. Further, by not disclosing his alibi fully at the onset of the investigation, it allowed police to enter the realm of tunnel vision, as we know they're prone to do. The result of several hours of interviewing and interrogating was damning for Sofanow. During the course of questioning, he had placed himself at the Ideal Donut Shop at the time of the murder. He placed himself there because he was so discombobulated.
And they lied to him too.
Yes, and they gaslit him. They made him believe he was there.
They were like, we got your prints there. They did not, in fact,
have his prints there. 2 witnesses had already picked his photo from a pack prepared by police and probably gently nudged by police as well.
They were like, cowboy hat.
That's right.
Right?
Dark cowboy hat. Although nothing seized from Sofanow would prove to link him to the murder, one further damning conversation would. The next day, Constable Trevor Black, an undercover police officer, was placed in the adjoining cell to Sofanow. He was requested to steer the conversation towards the subjects of where the car was parked, about the lock, and if a sign was moved. Black spent the next 4 hours conversing with Sofanow, who maintained that he was arrested for stabbing a girl in a donut shop in Winnipeg, but denied killing anyone.
And she wasn't even stabbed.
And she was not stabbed.
She was not stabbed.
The conversation continued. Sofanow saying, I was driving around Winnipeg. I parked on the street and went in the donut shop and locked the door. Black responded, you locked the door? Sofanow, yes. Black, didn't you need a key? Sofanow, no, just turn the twisting motion with his finger.
And that's what the police continuously did during their initial interrogation to him, was making that motion in his face.
Yes. I talked with her, took my cup up to the counter and left 75 cents for the coffee and a tip. Then I left in my car.
And the thing is, the suspect who was seen leaving left on foot. He ran away with a box.
Yes, he did. He did run away with the box.
And then threw the box over a bridge. There was no car.
What's in the box?
Check the fucking pond.
Check the pond. Wasn't anyone else? And then Black asked, wasn't anyone else in the shop? Sofanow, making a shrugging motion, said, they say there were 7 witnesses outside, and a guy went in and found her on the floor in the men's washroom. Stabbed. She died a week later. She was in the women's washroom.
She was in the women's washroom, and she was, in fact, not stabbed. She was strangled.
Strangled by the really tight nylon.
Nylon, yeah.
Then Black said, did the witnesses see her get stabbed? Sofanow doing the shrugging thing. I don't even know what donut shop I was in. I don't know Winnipeg well. They say it was on Goulet Street. They say it was on Goulet in St. Boniface, just outside of Winnipeg. Sofanow maintained that he had nothing to hide. He later told Black that he just got his alibi, recalling 2 people who could vouch for him. Unfortunately, his indication on how he locked the door would prove to be yet another circumstantial problem in his defense. Compounding the issue, he had just spent 14 hours with police and had yet to disclose an alibi. He was subsequently transported to Winnipeg in custody and became the focus of a media frenzy.
Yeah, because the police were already... Wasn't it 2 constables in the last episode had murdered a guy and buried him in a sack?
Yes.
And a father and son looking for hazelnuts came upon him?
Yes.
Like, Jesus.
My goodness.
Great police work there.
Yeah. With no concrete tangible evidence linking Sofanow to the crime, just circumstantial, police continued to piece together evidence from eyewitnesses. On March 13th, a physical lineup was conducted with Dorkson viewing Sofanow and several other people. Dorkson, which one was that again?
He was the Christmas tree farm kid.
Right, thank you.
Who chased the guy down, the guy who actually killed
Johnny D.
He pulled a knife on him, and then when John came back and saw that there were all these cops outside, he was like, I'm gonna get that guy.
I'm gonna get him, and then he hopped in the cab.
Yeah.
Dorkson had been fighting with the killer on the Norwood Bridge and potentially had the best look at him. Officers in attendance documented he was unable to make a positive identification at this point. So if he couldn't make a positive identification, you didn't have the right guy.
Yeah.
Because he tackled him.
He looked him in the face.
Right in the eyes.
If someone was pointing a knife to my face and screaming that they were going to throw it at me,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I would remember what they looked.
You're pretty sure.
Maybe not. I don't know. I haven't been in that situation.
That's right. I was going to say. You corrected yourself. That's great. It should be noted that Safanow consented to the lineup and was now represented by lawyer Rocky Pollock. Rocky! Let's see how Rocky does. Adrian! On March 15th, the same lineup was presented for Norman Janower, Marcel Glue, and Mildred King, again with the consent of Safanow and his lawyer. Norman stated, from what I can see, I'd say number 7, which was Safanow. He's about the right height and weight and walks just like the guy. How would he know if it's a lineup? Oh, when you're walking in.
Yeah, I guess. But that's a side profile,
yeah,
so
I don't know.
like...
Whatever, if he feels confident. Janower then asked Winnipeg police sergeant, I wonder if they saw the photo lineup before they saw the other lineup.
Oh.
That's just a question I have. Janower then asked Winnipeg Police Sergeant Ken Biner or Beaner. I'm going to call him Beaner.
I like it.
Then asked Winnipeg Sergeant... Getting all jarbled, too excited to say Beaner. Janower, a.k.a. Norman, then asked Winnipeg Police Sergeant Ken Beaner if he had selected the right guy, prompting Beaner to reply that he had picked the person being investigated as the suspect. Marcel then viewed the live lineup and was positive that the suspect he saw fighting with Dirksen on the bridge that night was not in the group of men. And which one was Marcel again?
I think he was the
husband?
No, that's Norm. I think he was one of the McDonald's workers.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Because we got the list of characters, the cast of characters, thanks to Christine.
Yes, we do. What was his name again? I'm having a time.
Marcel. Lou?
That's okay. I don't want to spend too much time looking around for something. Marcel then viewed the live lineup and was... I already read that. Mildred King initially stated that the suspect was not in the lineup, but as they left the room, she stated, no, I can't swear. Number 7 was the closest from the side view, the right side view. The identification of Safanow to this point was weak, but a curious event would soon take place. Dirksen had decided to go to the courthouse and see the person they had arrested. His plans were sidelined as he was spot-checked by police and found to have a warrant of committal for his arrest.
Oh, no.
Johnny, that's why you were selling Christmas trees, buddy. Police detained him in the remand center, although he indicated he had the money at home. Oh, so he owed a bill or something. While in custody, he had a chance meeting with Safanow. Oh, so he bumped into him.
A chance, quote unquote.
Yes. Now he was able to identify Safanow and would testify to this in court. The case became that much stronger, or perhaps that much more suspect.
See, I like John, but I feel like that is a bit... You know this guy is the suspect. You know this is who they're looking at. And you're walking in there with that in mind to check him out. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like you are creating this preconceived notion in your mind as it is that this is the guy.
Yeah.
And he did, based off of the description we have of him, he did look very similar to
the same
original
height
suspect.
And build and
the long hair. Even, I mean, they were gold glasses, not dark glasses, but he had glasses.
Yes.
As well.
I like how this is written in here. Physical evidence? Evidence collected, or lack thereof.
Question mark?
Right on, Christine. Okay, hair samples were located on the top of the toilet tank in the woman's washroom.
Oh.
These were found to be consistent with Barb's hair, suggesting that she struck her head on the toilet and may have been knocked out immediately. Apart from slight bruising to the inner portions of both arms and a bruise behind her right ear, there were no signs of a struggle. Okay, so there's that.
Yeah, and they did say that they found blood on her mouth and teeth.
Yes.
And just slightly on the wall above where she was laying. So that would make that
Oh, it makes sense if she got knocked out.
It tracks.
The twine found around her neck was the same as the 5 pieces located under the Norwood Bridge from the box. In fact, the 6 pieces were originally likely part of the same single piece of twine, so it was like unwound. Mm-hmm. The gloves located under the Norwood Bridge were a matching pair. The left glove had 172 inches of twine consistent with the twine around her neck. Crime lab results also found an acrylic textile on the glove consistent with Barb's sweater, thereby connecting the gloves to the attacker. He wore those gloves, for sure.
I mean, why else are you throwing them away? Like,
I know. The right glove was found to contain small wood fragments and paint chips. The colors included light green, silver, gray, medium green / wood, dark yellow, dark brown, blue, red, and white. And the left glove also had paint chips including dark blue. Never a dull moment with Daisy. She just sent our ears buzzing. Okay, and we're back. The left glove also had paint chips including dark blue, red, wood, brown, gray, tan, and green. A soiled facial tissue found with the gloves had a dark-colored synthetic fiber not consistent with any of Barb's clothing. This suggests it was likely from the suspect. Here we go. Numerous animal hairs were found on her clothing, likely from her dog and cat. Girl, same.
Yeah. I'm covered in cat fur at any given moment.
A saliva stain was located on the rear of her pants. Ew.
That's gross.
Yeah. This was found to be the same as the DNA in a piece of gum located on the bathroom floor, and both belonged to Barb.
So both the saliva on her pants and from the gum?
Yeah. However, mixed in with the saliva was a small quantity of male DNA. Ugh. The sample was
gross.
So minute, it could not be used to confirm the donor's identity. While this sample may have belonged to the attacker, it may have also belonged to medical staff, police, etc. There was no other evidence of male DNA on any other exhibits.
And they did not, remember, gentle listeners, they did not secure the crime scene properly when they first arrived there. So that is a good hypothesis that it could have come from one of the investigators, police officers, first responders, whoever.
Yeah. It's a very valid theory.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
We keep going. A 40-quarter-inch piece of twine was found wrapped twice around Barbara's neck and tied in 2 common knots. Although the twine was not tested, it was believed to have been manufactured by Powers Twine in Washington, who sold it to BC Hydro. Representatives from the company stated that the twine was similar in configuration. 3 unidentified palm prints were lifted from the middle of the door near the crash bar. These prints may have been made by emergency personnel or customers during the day, or may have been the suspects, although he was seen wearing gloves. So don't count on those. Another right index fingerprint was lifted on the donut shop's door near the locking mechanism. Once again, it may have been made by the suspect, a customer, or emergency personnel.
You know what? That one could likely be the suspects, because he was seen leaving with the box. We know he threw the box over the bridge and all the contents in the box.
So there were no prints on the box?
Oh.
There were no prints on the gloves? There were no
the gloves
prints
were in the box.
Yeah, there were no prints on the items on any other shit in the fucking
yeah, because he would have needed to unlock what's in the box. He would have needed to unlock the door to leave when Norm saw him leaving.
Yeah.
And then he didn't lock it behind him and just was like, open crime scene. Come on in.
Yeah, come on in. Norm was like, what? One of the only pieces of concrete evidence in this case was the twine. The one that Buddy left on the side of the sink.
And they never tested
No.
to confirm where it actually came from.
Why would you? It was soon determined that it was most likely manufactured by Powers Twine from Everson, Washington, and sent to companies in the Vancouver area. As a result, Winnipeg police... Oh, okay. These distributors subsequently sold it to BC Hydro for the purpose of being used as a short line. As a result, Winnipeg police investigators believed that the suspect had a British Columbia connection. So the twine is why they think it was
Soffino.
Why it was Soffino. Wow.
He lived
That's a reach.
Right? He lived in BC.
That's a reach.
Was tried to visit his daughter in Winnipeg. Was then going to go to Mexico for Christmas.
Yeah.
Didn't get very far.
Gave up on Mexico.
Stopped in a coffee shop, saw a missing persons poster for another girl, called in to say, hey, I think maybe I saw her. And then they were like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
BC, cowboy hat.
That's him.
Done deal.
Over 6 feet. That must be him.
Got
he
our
practically turned himself in. Phone records proved to be invaluable in pinpointing where Soffino was at specific times. This concrete evidence in 1981 was as follows. On December 23rd at 3:30 p.m., Soffino arrives at Diane and Alex Klein's house. At 3:38 p.m., confirmed time, Soffino calls his sister in BC. At 5:25 p.m., that is the approximate time he leaves the Kleins. At 5:30 p.m. is the confirmed time he calls his ex-wife from the phone booth at Notre Dame in Portage. At 7:52 p.m., is the confirmed time he calls his mother in BC from the Canadian Tire store located at the Pembina Highway. At 7:56 p.m., there's a confirmed time that the call ends. So he was on the phone for 4 minutes with his mom.
Yeah.
On December 24th at 8 p.m., there's a confirmed time he calls from Rossland, BC. At 8:20, a confirmed call from Rossland, BC to his sisters. At 9:57 p.m., a confirmed call from Grand Forks, BC. And on December 25th, a confirmed call from Princeton, BC to his sister. Well, yeah, it's the holidays. These all seem like normal phone calls. The noted times of phone calls made by Soffino would prove problematic for the prosecution.
How?
If he was making the calls as documented, and we are to presume his guilt, then there must have been two cowboys with similar descriptions at the Dominion Center on the day in question. Conversely, if the sightings were one and the same, one must conclude that Soffino was innocent, since he could not be at two places at the same time. So they're saying the phone calls
didn't match the timeline of the murder and stuff.
Got it. Even more problematic, so this is problematic for the prosecution. Even more problematic was the call from the Canadian Tire on the Pembina Highway at 7:52 p.m., some 14 to 19 minutes away from the Ideal Donut Shop. Police confirmed the call was made and lasted 4 minutes, ending at 7:56 p.m., a full 19 to 24 minutes from when the cowboy was first seen by witnesses in the store. It may have been the most important call he had ever made. Because also the cowboy was going in and out of other stores.
Yeah, he was seen wandering the entire area in that mall.
Yeah.
Like, tons of the witness list.
There's no way Soffino could have been there.
Go and listen to the first episode if you missed it, because the list of witnesses that saw him.
Like, comprehensive eyewitness accounts. Like, down to what hand he used to flip a sign.
So it wasn't him. How do you look at that and go, this is still our guy?
This is the guy. You know, you'd think prosecutors would have been smarter than that and gone, you know what, cops? This
Give your head a shake.
This isn't adding up. You know what? I don't want this hard of a case to prove someone's guilt.
Listen.
Let's work a little harder on your end, boys.
2 + 2 doesn't equal pancakes.
That's
okay?
Right. That's right. That's right. Okay, let's talk about some eyewitness identification. Nadine Soffino, I think that's his sister.
No, Nadine is the ex-wife.
The ex-wife. My bad. Thank you. Nadine felt that Tom fit the description of the composite drawn. You can't take it before I finish it. You can't take the ex-wife's word when she didn't let him see the kid on Christmas.
She's clearly
upset. Yeah. And believe all women, but come on, this was the 80s.
And I mean, to kind of defend her a little bit, we do know that he does fit the physical description.
Yes.
Based off of what? 2 cowboys.
Yes. But they're also in like the prairies.
Yes.
so many cowboys.
Everybody is fitting the description.
A cowboy. Yeah. Okay. So Nadine felt that Tom fit the description of the composite drawing and felt upon first police contact that it was about the Stoppel murder. She felt he was capable of blowing up and was afraid of him, although he had never assaulted her in the past. At the conclusion of their phone call on December 23rd, 1981, in Winnipeg, they were both crying.
So again, he was emotionally distraught, like we have said, was just driving around, upset.
Not sure where to go, not sure where to spend his holidays.
Right?
Hoping that Nadine will change her mind and
your
he'll get to
car
be with
is
his daughter.
all janky, so you don't know where to... You're not in your own province.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. And there's no GPS.
Yeah.
He's just driving. The clients indicated that Sofanow went to their house at 3:30 p.m. to drop off Kimberly's Christmas gifts on the day of the murder and left at 5 p.m. He was wearing a 3/4 length brown leather coat with another jacket underneath, brown dress pants, tinted glasses, cowboy boots, and had a mustache. When asked if he was wearing a cowboy hat, they advised that he was not.
Oh.
Thomas's former girlfriend, Jacqueline Henke, reported that the two lived together on Mayfair in Winnipeg, just on the other side of the bridge from the Dominion Shopping Center. She also recalled he had a cowboy hat, which he bought in the summer of 1981 and wore it regularly. Also of note, she recalled that he carried a knife and attended the Dominion Shopping Center on occasion to eat at the McDonald's. More interesting to investigators, she recalled that she had seen yellow rope in his car.
But it wasn't just yellow. It was yellow and green.
Yeah. Henke and her friend, she is Henke. Henke and her friend Cindy Coe both believed Sofanow matched the description of the composite drawing, but neglected to call police because they thought he was in BC at that time. On March 11th, a Polaroid picture of Sofanow wearing his cowboy hat was combined with 7 other Polaroid photos of suspects and shown to witnesses Norman and Lorraine Genower. And they're the ones, the husband and wife.
Yeah, she's the one who was pissed
about the coffee. 5 of the individuals, including Sofanow, were wearing cowboy hats and glasses. The remaining 2 were not. Lorraine Genower picked out Sofanow's photo and stated, if anything, he'd be like this. Not this is him, but he'd be like this.
Yeah, that's not a clear, concrete...
No.
This is the guy.
I can see why the prosecution had a hard time. Her husband also picked the same photo and stated, this guy I know from somewhere, I don't know why. That's what you sound like in the prairies. Don't clip that. So here are some circumstantial factors. Closely resembling the composite drawing in Winnipeg on the day of the murder, known to carry a knife and upset at not being allowed to see his daughter, provided investigators with grounds to consider Sofanow a person of interest in the case. More compellingly, he had a BC connection which may link him to the murder weapon. Okay.
That's a stretch.
Imagine all the time they spent actually trying to find the guy. They would have found him.
Check the pond.
Check the fucking pond. Keep in mind all the confirmed times Sofanow was with people in Winnipeg on that day. You may want to compare them with the times the cowboy is spotted by numerous witnesses in the shopping center. And here are some alternative... Were there any alternative suspects considered at the time? There was a photograph of a male that was identified by Dirksen on January 6, 1982 as resembling the suspect. In fact, Dirksen reported that if it was not him, he could pass for a twin. Police identified and interviewed the man, and he was quickly eliminated. The point of interest is that this man looked nothing like the composite or Sofanow.
I mean, that still... Serenity now.
Serenity now.
Serenity now.
And we got through that section.
Yeah. Did anyone go online and let us know what our tally was at from the last episode? let us know if you guys have been keeping track of how many times the cops have messed up in this case.
Yeah, not fingerprinting the box.
You had what's in the box.
Immediately grab it.
Who had the box?
Fingerprint it.
All right. Let's talk about the initial trials and verdict. So the first trial began on October 18th, 1982. For the defense, the lawyers would maintain that this case was a case of mistaken identity. They would highlight the fact...
well, that's the truth. That's straight up the defense.
I mean, not wrong. Not wrong. So they would highlight the fact
Thomas is like, the truth will out. I don't know. I didn't kill her, so this is all going to work out for me. I
don't even know where I was.
I know. He's like, if
I can't remember the coffee shop I was in.
It's like, surely I didn't rape and murder this girl.
Right? And that seems like something pretty big that I would remember.
You'd think.
They would highlight the fact that Safano was at the Canadian Tire store 14 to 19 minutes away from the crime scene and could not have been the killer.
Can't do it. Usually that's case done.
Slammed it shut.
That's it.
Out the door. This distance was traveled by many lawyers and police officers over the years with similar time records. So Safano would testify that he once had left the Canadian Tire, drove to St. Boniface, and the Meiser Cordadia, probably botched that, I'm sorry, listeners, the hospitals, and delivered candy stockings for children. Come on, he delivered stockings to children in the hospital.
He didn't do it. I mean, well, there are some serial killers who've done.
Ted Bundy did work for a suicide prevention hotline.
John Wayne Gacy did
perform for children's birthday parties
as a clown. So.
Yeah. So I mean,
we'll take back what we said.
Yeah, I don't know. Redacted.
Don't clip it.
He then went to the Tim Hortons on Portage Avenue for coffee and then dropped off more stockings at the Grace Hospital. Although none of the staff could identify him, his story was somewhat supported by witnesses years after the fact in court.
Oh, so this was like years before. Got you. I understand. Continue. Thank you.
Yeah, so like he would know how long the drive is because he's
done it.
Yeah. He then drove back to Vancouver. Safano would admit that he did not disclose his alibi initially because he didn't think it was important.
He's just a dummy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
His crayons are not the brightest.
He wasn't thinking right.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not a dummy. He just wasn't thinking right.
And I mean, in that situation...
You're just not thinking right.
You're not even, like, he initially thought he was being brought in about this other missing girl that he was like, hey, I'm calling in because I think I saw her.
Yeah.
So at first he's like, what the hell does this have to do with anything? Like,
and it's, what is that case? The West Memphis 3?
Oh, yeah.
When they, like, played into the Satanism stuff because they were like, we didn't do this. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
Like, on the stand, they were like, yeah, I'm Satanist. Like, they fully just played it, like, let themselves be who they are because they knew they didn't commit those crimes. And it ended up working completely against them.
Because people have, the public has these preconceived notions, which this was the tunnel vision the cops had.
Yeah.
And people. Google wasn't a thing back then, but Google is now a thing. So
now we have Google.
If you don't understand something or want to question something,
ask Google.
There's resources out there.
You do have resources available to you if you need them.
So Safano also defended some of his remarks during the police interviews, testifying that Sergeant Paulishin had told him that the murder occurred between 8 and 9. Further, until he had seen the phone logs, he didn't know what time he was at the Canadian store, as it had been like months earlier.
Right. So he didn't even know.
He didn't even know.
What? Because you're not really, again, the 80s.
I mean, we
didn't have cell phones. You're not paying attention to what you're doing.
You didn't have your cell phones.
You don't know where to be.
And you're not walking like around doing your errands going, I need to keep track of every little detail I'm doing because I might become a murder suspect tomorrow. So the prosecution, the Crown believed that Safano went to Winnipeg to see his daughter and became enraged when his ex-wife denied him. They would argue that he had more than enough time to leave the Canadian Tire store and murder Barb for whatever motive. So they didn't even have a motive. They're just like, just because.
Because you could.
And yes.
They were like, were you mad, Tommy? You were mad, were you, son?
It's okay.
Yeah. We'll get through this.
Although there were questions.
You can tell us you were mad. He's like, I was like maybe like a little like sad, like I wasn't able to see. Did you say you were mad?
I just wanted to go to Mexico.
Yeah, he's like, I was a little upset I couldn't get to Mexico. My car's a hunk of junk.
Although there were questions,
and I'm literally on the opposite end of the continent.
Right. Also, that I have to drive through an entire another country, and this isn't Europe.
And I learned that Mexico is so like in. Don't judge me for this. But if you don't know this, now you fucking know. In the continent of America, Mexico, U.S., Canada.
Yeah.
That's bottom up, friends. That's the way I was saying that. So they're not. Mexico is South America. Like we're all part of the same continent.
Yeah.
It's the three of us.
It's the bottom,
three of us together.
It's the bottom of our country.
That's what I'm saying.
Or not our country, continent. Our continent. Yes.
That's right.
The other C word. That's I'm getting whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, but we're all one thing.
Yeah. It's literally like he would have to drive all the way through the states to get to Mexico.
Yes.
It was not an easy drive.
You keep talking. I'm going to Google Maps Winnipeg to Mexico.
Okay. So although there was questionable identification initially, Dorkinson would testify that Sofno was the man he was wrestling with on the night. King, who initially stated during the suspect lineup, "No, he's not there," would later identify Sofno in court. And Lorraine and Norman would also identify Sofno in court. The Crown's case was strengthened by the similarities to the composite and by Sofno's own comments to the police during the interviews. He placed himself inside the Ideal donut shop at the time of her murder, had the BC connection. It would have taken 1 day and 13 hours from him to get from where he was to Mexico.
Yeah. That's to Mexico City.
Oh, Mexico City. Yeah. And that's driving.
That's driving. Yes. That's quite all the way through the States. Okay, sorry, keep going. Keep going.
So he had the BC connection. He had a cowboy hat. He wore cowboy
hat. That's going to be the end of him.
Right? The stupid cowboy hat that every single other person in Winnipeg owns as well.
That's right. Y'all better get rid of your cowboy hats.
And he had even...
you don't want that WPS come get you.
I think you sound more American there than you do.
Yeah, I know.
It's more of a Southern accent.
I was watching Unexpected.
There you go.
Yeah. What you fixing to come over? Y'all, are you fixing to come over for dinner?
I think that's kind of cute, though.
It is cute.
Are you fixing to come over?
You were fixing to fight with me. Okay, please continue. Sorry. Sorry to all our Southern listeners.
Matthew McConaughey over there. So he placed himself inside the Ideal coffee shop at the time of the murder. I mean, he only did that because they told him they had his prints there.
Yeah, he was gaslit into saying that.
Mm-hmm. He had the BC connection. He had the cowboy hat. He wore the cowboy boots. And he even told an undercover officer in the cell next to him when he was... that he had locked the door. He told this undercover officer that he was the one who locked the door. Several jailhouse informants also had their input during the trial and investigation. Each one.
Jailhouse informants have to be unethical and unsafe for inmates. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Like, that just shouldn't be a practice. Don't make them snitch on each other. They hate that.
And they promise them reduced sentences.
I know,
for that stuff.
But you're never going to be safe.
Yeah,
you'll never be safe.
You don't know who's on the outside.
You don't know.
I know someone who it was suspected that they had snitched, and somebody shanked them in prison. Yeah. This person lived and everything, but I guess you can leak your papers in prison to show what your charges and everything are. So he had to get his papers leaked to prove that he wasn't a snitch to make sure that he was safe going once he was out of the hospital and everything and went back in to, for his own safety. Prison is not.
It's not a good time.
So each jailhouse informant would seek one form of a reward or another for comments that implicated Sofno. So they were bribed. There was no physical evidence linking Sofno to the crime scene, and this point coupled with the lack of any logical motive forced the Crown to focus on his comments to police and his comments to the convicts and the twine, which again had not been tested.
The untested twine.
The untested twine. They were
that's
just
a song.
We think, and that's enough. The Canadian justice system is based too frequently on the...
Hold on, Daisy's eating something. She can see me coming. You. Yeah, you. Still haunting the same old fast fashion? Time to dig up something better with Back from the Dead Goods, a Canadian small business where forgotten threads get a second life and sustainability meets spooky. This isn't just upcycled clothing. It's resurrected fashion with an eerie edge. Handpicked, reworked, and revived, every piece is as unique as a ghost story whispered at midnight. And because you're a part of the Canadian Creepies family, you get an exclusive deal. Use code Canadian Creepies at checkout for 10% off. Find them lurking on Instagram, Etsy, and Poshmark. Links are in the episode description. Give your wardrobe a second chance at life, if you dare. Hey creeps, it's Valerie here, and if you're anything like us, you love capturing a moment, whether it's spooky, sweet, or somewhere delightfully in between. Let me introduce you to our go-to for stunning shots, Darkroom Photography, based right here in the heart of the Niagara region. Mel, the brilliant eye behind the lens, is a lifestyle and creative photographer who brings a little bit of magic and maybe a touch of mystery to every session. She's got all her prices listed right on her website, super transparent, no tricks, and she runs killer seasonal specials around Mother's Day, Halloween, Christmas, and more. I'm telling you, her Halloween sessions, creepy perfection. So, if you're in the Niagara area and looking to capture memories that are hauntingly beautiful, hit up Mel at mel@darkroomphotography.ca or check out her work at www.darkroomphotography.ca. That's Darkroom Photography, where your memories come to life, even in the dark. Looking for your next obsession? The Creators Collective Podcasts is your gateway to the dark, the chilling, and the downright fascinating. We're a community of independent podcasts with one goal: to share the best in true crime, paranormal tales, folklore, and unexplained mysteries. Whether you crave cold cases that won't stay closed, haunted histories that refuse to be forgotten, or stories that make you sleep with the lights on, there's a show waiting for you in the collective. And when you join us, you're not just listening to one podcast. You're stepping into a world of creators who love this stuff as much as you do. Check out the Creators Collective today. Follow the link in our show notes to discover your next favorite podcast. We'll be waiting for you. Support reproductive justice in Niagara. Niagara Reproductive Justice is a grassroots collective based in the Niagara region of Ontario, working to increase visibility and access to sexual and reproductive health care. They support people seeking abortion and other essential care by offering transportation, financial assistance, logistical help, and emotional support. Here's how you can help. You can make a one-time donation. Send an e-transfer to niagarareproductivejustice@gmail.com. Your support helps cover costs like gas for volunteer drivers, overnight stays, childcare, and other urgent needs. You can also support monthly via Patreon. Join their Patreon and support the cause month to month. It's patreon.com/Niagara Reproductive Justice. And you can volunteer your time. NRJ is always looking for volunteers to help with driving, outreach, admin support, and community organizing. If you're looking to make a real impact in the Niagara region, this is a great place to start. Contact them via email or DM them on Instagram or Facebook to learn more. You can find them on Instagram at Niagara Reproductive Justice and on Facebook at Niagara Reproductive Justice. Help amplify access to reproductive care right here in our own backyard. Whether you donate, volunteer, or spread the word, you're a part of the movement.
Potato would never let me do that. He ate one of my eyeglasses yesterday.
Okay. I'm back. Here I am. Sorry, continue.
That's
Just
okay.
saved my dog's life. No big deal.
Daisy.
I didn't save her life.
So the Canadian justice system is based too frequently on the adversarial model. One tries to prove or disprove a case and does not necessarily come to the truth. Represented by Greg Brodsky, in one trial, Safno became frustrated that he wanted to show reasonable doubt and not innocence.
Yeah, that is very frustrating about our judicial system.
Yeah.
Like, especially in like a cross-examination. Like, who came up with the idea? I get it. I don't get the idea of a cross-examination, actually. Don't argue with me. Fuck off. I can't be bothered to argue. But it's stupid how when they ask you a question and it's like, is it true that you, like, if somebody asked me, is it true that you peed today? Well, yeah.
Did you?
I'd be like, yes, because and they'd be like, no. And, you know, you can only answer in yes or no.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, yeah, because I'm a human is why I peed.
Yeah.
You know, there's no context to any of the answers.
Although I will say, I did enjoy the cross-examination in the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case, because that entire thing was just...
It's just a circus.
A mega glass?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Stung by a bee?
Yeah.
So to further complicate matters, the Crown was not obligated to provide the defense with the entire file. It only had to supply what it would call into evidence. In 1991, a landmark decision by the Supreme Court of Canada, R.V. Stitchcomb, ruled that the Crown had a duty to provide the defense with all evidence. This case put to rest the long-standing issue with whether the Crown could purposely deny the defense evidence when the Crown found that the Crown found would be harmful to their case. If this ruling existed in 1982, Safano would have never been convicted, let alone prosecuted 3 times.
So the Crown didn't have to provide the defense with all of their evidence.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not until 1991.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay, continue, please.
So during this first trial, the jury, it was a mistrial, which resulted in a hung jury. Mm-hmm. Then there was a verdict on November 6, 1982. The reason for the outcome was a lack of evidence. The jury could not reach a verdict.
So if it's 2 mistrials, innocent. I mean, right. I don't know. Well, I'm not standing on that. But in this scenario.
The second trial happened on the 21st of February in 1983. So this poor guy was just in and out of jail
He's
constantly.
Like, the fuck?
Right? During this defense, the difference from the first defense was that the prosecution mainly relied on the same strategies as the first one. The defense continued to proclaim innocence, that he had an alibi.
The alibi was he was driving around. He was planning a trip to Mexico.
Well, and I guess back then you wouldn't have like traffic cameras and like door cameras, so you wouldn't have a lot of like a track record that they could go back and be like, oh, you were on this street at this time. I can see your car. I could see that it's you pulling up at this stoplight. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
I guess nobody
if there's nobody else in the car with you to verify that, or like a drive-through person at the coffee. Why didn't they ask the people at the coffee shop?
Again, shoddy police work.
I mean, he was saying that
I was thinking, why didn't they ask the employees at the Canadian Tire?
Oh, yeah.
To confirm But if he just used a payphone, I don't know.
But he did bring his car in to be serviced. So
okay.
Great minds. So Bob Christmas, great name.
Love that. Him and Johnny should hang out.
He was the sheriff's officer at the time of Safano's trial in 1983, and he stood beside him as the verdict was read out. He recalled Safano as being an awkward, quiet person, saying little, if anything, throughout the entire ordeal.
Sounds like he didn't want to say the wrong thing.
He seems like he was just quiet and awkward in general.
Yeah.
Like, they said he was like very like emotionless. Like, I mean, what do you want the guy to do? Like,
yeah, he's like confused.
Right? The tension in the air was palpable, and he wondered if he would be able to walk out a free man or if he was going to prison for life. The verdict was read out guilty, and you could hear the gasps in the room. Then Safano squeezed out, "I didn't do it." No one else in the room heard the comment, but it was the one that Christmas would never forget.
Oof.
The verdict was on March 17th in 1983.
Okay.
And was later overturned by the Court of Appeals on March 13th, 1984, and a third trial was ordered. The Court of Appeals found the trial judge had again erred in not properly putting the defense theory before the jury. The judge also had erred in providing the jurors from hearing Safano's alibi evidence of his whereabouts on the night of the murder. Like,
so the jury had no information on that.
Basically.
So yeah, okay.
Basically.
Like, that's your job.
It seems like it was
You're
rushed.
getting paid a lot of money to do this.
You're a judge.
Yeah.
Like, you more than anybody else.
Haven't you studied equity and fairness and
right? You should be the one who's withholding any policies above anything. Oh, I'm frustrated.
Fucking idiot.
So the third trial, the prosecution's strategies in Thomas Safano's third trial in 1985 was led by Crown Attorney Stuart Whitley, and it was heavily reliant on reproducing the evidence from the previous two trials despite significant flaws in the evidence. The core strategy involved using conversational eyewitness identification, questionable jailhouse informant testimony, and an alleged confession to secure a conviction. The third trial began on the 4th of February in 1985.
Oh my God.
It was...
and has he been in jail this whole time?
I don't know. Because sometimes they do let you out on bail.
If he's got 2 mistrials, he would be free in between.
Yeah, sometimes like you do. It depends on certain circumstances. Like if they thought you were a flight risk in between the trials, then you might have to sit in jail.
Or a risk to others.
Yeah.
So who knows?
So the third trial resulted
I'm sure somebody knows. I don't know.
Just listen. The third trial was another guilty decision. Safano again appealed his conviction, and the Court of Appeals found that the trial judge had again erred in not properly putting the defense theory before the jury.
Again.
A verdict.
So they're making all
the same mistakes.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're just like, let's do it again. But we're not going to change anything up. We're just using all the same.
Off we go.
This isn't a Broadway musical, folks. It doesn't need to be the same every single time. A verdict of acquittal was entered, and of course the Crown appealed this decision on April 22nd, 1986. 5 years after Barb's murder, the courts denied the prosecution's appeal and entered a decision that there would be no further prosecution of Safano. The general feeling...
Let it go.
Right? Just peace be with you.
So he got charged guilty. They sent it to the court. I'm trying to understand. Sorry. Got charged guilty, sent it to the Court of Appeals. Court of Appeals said, you suck.
You didn't, yeah. So the first
time... And then the last time, they said, that's it.
So first time it was a mistrial.
Leave this man alone.
Yeah. First time was a mistrial. The second time was guilty. They appealed it, and they were like, you did not do your job.
Your job, yeah.
This was very faulty.
They brought him back again.
They brought him back for a third time, and they did the same mistakes again. So it was...
So now they've said, leave him alone.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay.
The general feeling of the courts, police, and politicians was that he had successfully gotten away with murder.
Oh, my God.
You didn't prove.
He didn't prove he did it. And he didn't do it.
You did not give all of these people the proper information in which they could make a proper judgment.
That's right. You withheld,
3 times.
You omitted and withheld pertinent information to this case.
Multiple
times.
If at first you don't succeed, don't try again in this case.
Right? Adapt, pivot. I don't know.
They did nothing. They did not pivot.
There was no pivot.
There was no pivot. This marked the beginning of Safano's pleas for a review of the case. His freedom was not enough. He wanted the person responsible caught.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Go off, King. Go off, King.
Yet no one seemed interested in what they believed was a pointless endeavor because they had that tunnel vision. This is our guy. One aspect that Safano had in his favor during his trials was that he was his legal counsel. All defense lawyers on his side were highly competent and knowledgeable. There was no doubt that if they had been supplied with all of the information that the police had gathered, that he would not have been prosecuted in the first place.
That's right.
I mean, not wrong. This information was all available to police at the time, but was not shared with Safano's lawyers or the judges or the jury. I mean,
so is that even a trial, or is that just a one-sided rant at you?
Yeah.
Is that just a show? Is that just a play?
That's just you.
That's
bitching.
A one act. That's a one-act play.
Yeah. A one-man band, and you're not that good.
Yeah, that's right.
You should put the harmonica away.
Put it away.
As mentioned earlier, the original case file contained more than 700 tips that were called in about suspects looking like the composite drawing of the killer. After reviewing the tips, it was evident that one person's name kept appearing over and over again, almost demanding to be noticed.
And what name was that?
That's basically all I've got for you in this portion.
I pick it up.
You pick it up.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Christine.
Yes.
Christine.
I like what you did there.
I know. I like what you did there too.
A little sneaky.
Okay. There is no doubt. So here are problems with the evidence. More problems with the evidence.
Before we reveal the name.
Before we reveal. And even if we will get to that in this episode,
I know.
it might be next episode.
We are blind reading Christine's notes.
Well, I read them before, but
I didn't. I enjoyed going into it blind last episode.
I actually do.
Because I was like, this is good.
It is good.
It's fun. It's juicy exciting storytelling.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, Christine, you might just be surprising us all the time. So here are some weaknesses or absence of forensic evidence. There is no doubt that Stoppel was at the Canadian Tire on Pembina Highway speaking on the phone with his mother at 7:56 p.m. And again, the phone records are there. The suggestion that he was enraged by his failure to see his daughter and as a result decided to race across town and murder a 16-year-old girl that he did not know is ludicrous.
When you say it out loud.
Yeah, like put it all together. By the time he would have arrived at the donut shop, witnesses already indicated that the killer was inside. It was also known that his vehicle was not in the Dominion Shopping Center parking lot. If the vehicle was parked across the Norwood Bridge, then he would not have had time to be at the donut shop at 8:20 p.m. Daryl Flamond drove... Flamond?
I think it's Flamond.
Okay. Daryl Flamond drove with Stoppel from Vancouver and would have been helpful to determine his state of mind. So one of his buddies was there on the car ride.
Yep.
Unfortunately, nobody interviewed him. I can't.
What's our tally at?
Yeah, somebody let us know. On February 28th, 2000, after 15 minutes, the author of the book Stoppel, in which we are drawing a lot of this information from, located Daryl. So in 2000, it's just a hard last name to say. Andrew the author, we're going to call him.
Yeah.
Andrew the author located Daryl in Burnaby, BC and spoke with him on the phone. Stoppel was in good spirits on the way to Winnipeg and excited to see his daughter and nothing more. There was no motive. There will be more about the questionable evidence during the review when we get there. There were questionable witness ID, lightning, stress, cross-racial ID issues. Being an
cross-racial? Yeah. We haven't come to that yet.
No, being an eyewitness in a serious criminal investigation is an unwanted responsibility. The recollection of numerous witnesses that saw the killer on the day of the murder provided police with a good structure to work with. The information they gave was admirable, and their sole intention was the apprehension of the killer. Eyewitness identification and the accurate recollection of events is highly susceptible to human error.
We've talked about that before.
We have. It's really not a reliable form of
especially when
testimony in like court.
You're starting to have preconceived ideas about who it might be, like there have been in this case.
Yes. The identification process in this investigation was brimming with errors. During the review, investigators concluded that Stoppel could not be identified by any of the witnesses with any legal certainty. Johnny D. In the review, Andrew the author was curious about the photograph of a male that was identified by Johnny D. on January 6, 1982 as resembling the suspect. Since Dorkson reported that if it was not him, he could pass for a twin, police identified and interviewed the man, and he was quickly eliminated. The thing is, this man looked nothing like the composite or Stoppel. It was wondered if Durkinson, Johnny D, had any idea what the killer looked like at all. His false identification was not shared with counsel for the defense or the jury at any of the trials. It seems like important info to share. As weeks went by, he continued seeing possible suspects, and one by one, they were ruled out.
So he's just out there going, this guy.
Yeah, you get this, and you get this.
You get a suspect identification. you get a suspect. Yeah. Wow.
Had all these instances been shared, his credibility in court would be nothing short of catastrophic. And this was the Crown's prime witness. Johnny D.
Johnny, I had such high hopes for you.
I know. I take back all the good things we said about him in the last episode. Durkinson did identify Sofenow in court, and this did play a part in his conviction. The process of this identification was extremely suspect. Initially, he was shown approximately 100 photos by police. On March 13th, 1982, he viewed a live lineup of suspects, including Sofenow, and he could not identify him. On March 15th, Johnny D was arrested by Winnipeg police for not paying an $107 fine. Even though he said he had the money at home, police took him to the remand center where Sofenow was in custody. This is very odd. Back in those days, officers would get an arrest stat for making just about any arrest. Catching a criminal after a lengthy investigation was one arrest, but so was arresting a person on a warrant of committal. All you had to do was bring him to the remand center with his money, and you were back on the road only after a few minutes. Why were they so intent on having him detained? While in custody, Dorkinson, by chance, in quotes, bumped into Sofenow, prompting him to ask a guard if he was the person under arrest for the murder of Stoppel. And then he finally made the comment, "That's him. That's the guy. That's the guy from the lineup." Yeah, that's the guy from the lineup. That's not the guy who fucking did it.
You recognized him for a reason, just not the one you think.
Yeah. The guard, Bruce Henley, would later testify at the inquiry but also Johnny D was under pressure because he was like, I have the money. You don't have to lock me up. So I have some empathy for him. The guard, Bruce Henley, would later testify at the inquiry when I was taking him to dorm 2, Johnny D asked if he could have another look at the guy. So I opened up the range door. Johnny walked into the range and looked at Sofenow. He walked back out and said, that's the guy who murdered Barbara. There was no reason for this to have occurred since he could have obtained the money from home, paid the staff at the remand counter, and been free. Investigators needed to find out from Dorkinson himself what really happened.
So it was a setup.
Yeah. On January 5th, 2000, 2 of the cops went, these last names, Leggy and Andrew the officer, went to the Dairy Whip restaurant just blocks away from the Dominion Shopping Center. The Dairy Whip restaurant. I love that name. This was where Johnny D had been working for years. He was in his early 40s now, a slim man who seemed unsure of himself. One thing he did have was an incredible memory. Oh, so that was in 2000. They saw him. Mm-hmm. Okay. It was a face-to-face meeting between the three of them, and the detectives needed to stress the importance of him being honest and keeping the review confidential. His eyes seemed to tear up, if only for a moment. This case really affected him. They asked him to come for a formal interview the next day to recollect what occurred on the night of the murder. He nodded his head and agreed. He exited the car and walked back to work. The cops both had the same feeling. Something was haunting him. Woo! We're getting there. The next day, shortly after 8 p.m., Johnny arrived at the detective's office, and it was going to be a taped interview, and he appeared nervous. Andrew, the author, explained outright that Sofenow had nothing to do with the murder, and Johnny D didn't seem to have much of a reaction.
Because he knew.
Yeah. They believed that he lied during the testimony, and they needed to prove it. They placed a large photo of Barb on the table next to Dorskin and pleaded for him to help. He needed to know that the real killer was out there, and for Barb's sake, they needed the truth. Throughout the interview, it became clear that he could not identify any person he was fighting with. After all these years, he now claimed that he was wearing glasses on that night but lost them, and this is why he kept identifying the wrong suspects. Oh, Johnny. In fact, He even asked Andrew and Leggy if they were the same officers that had spoken with him the day before. A telling story of a man who could not identify two people having spoken with him only feet away within the last 24 hours. Johnny, a little blind guy. Dorkinson looked nervous and confused. Dorkson looked nervous and confused and presented himself in a tormented manner. All he ever wanted to do was the right thing. How could everything have gone so terribly wrong? The detectives kept telling him that if he wanted to help catch the real killer, he needed to tell the truth. Gradually, they gained his trust, and one after the other, the lies came out. He admitted to fabricating the entire event of taking a cab across the bridge to look for the cowboy.
Oh,
Johnny!
No, my heart!
I know. We were so proud of him for that.
Oh.
In essence, he had lied in all 3 trials and the preliminary hearing.
No wonder he was nervous.
That explains it. He told them that he made up the story to make himself look better and cover for his irrational actions of simply going home. Then again, no one checked the cab company. Of course. Yeah, nobody checked the cab company. Then they brought up his testimony during the second trial where he was asked, they didn't tell you which one of the suspected killers at the jail. To which he replied, no, they didn't.
They brought him right to the range to look at him.
Johnny now confessed that he was in fact told by police who the killer was after the lineup. One officer told him, we suspected this. One officer told him, that's the guy, John. That's the guy. We got to do this. The person that we have is number 6. Johnny recalled that the policeman was then reamed out for telling him who Sofano was. Johnny explained that he was under a lot of pressure and they were given information to show Sofano was the killer, he claimed. We thought so. He admitted that he could not say that Sofano was the person he was fighting with on the bridge on the night of the murder. Again, contrary to his testimony in all 3 trials and preliminary. The case against Sofano was indeed falling apart, I would say.
I feel like this is like one of those movies where you get hit with like this shocking
you're like, no,
reveal at the end and you're like, what? Blindsided. Although we saw this coming.
Yeah, we saw this coming. Andrew, the author, spoke with the identification officer originally assigned to this case on March 3rd, 2006. He was now an inspector in the district he was working. He shouldn't be working at all. He shouldn't be a cop at all. He was now, the inspector told him that one of the investigators pressured him to say that the footprints in the snow that were made by the killer were the same as Sofano's boot imprint, which is not an untypical move by the police force at that time. Although he decided not to lie, he never brought up this encounter in the court or inquiry. Perhaps it would have made Johnny's revelation more believable. Johnny D died a few years ago at the time of writing the book, and in many ways another victim in a string of tragedies. Yet by eventually telling detectives the truth, he helped clear an innocent man. Should we go into Lorraine Genoa, or what do you think?
Up to you. This is your show. I'm just a member of the Circus Monkeys.
The Circus Monkeys. Hold on, let me see here.
I think there's still quite a bit in
There's
this
still
passage.
quite a bit. You know what? I think we'll stop there for now. And I didn't write it down, but I know who the creep of the week is in my head.
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. This week's creep of the week is
I'm shaking with anticipation.
This week's creep of the week is just one sec here. That's one of the cops in this case. That's what I decided. I can't name one. That's the creep of the week.
Okay.
One of the cops in this case. All the cops in this case.
All the cops in this case.
All
I was
the
just
cops
going to say.
are all the creeps of the week.
They're all kind of shoddy.
Yeah. So they're the
Shady.
creeps. They're the creeps of the week this week is all the cops in this case.
If you want to have an input on the creep of the week.
I'd love for you to nominate some. I'd love for you to.
And check out our Patreon.
Yeah, go
we
to
do
our
coin
Patreon.
tosses.
Yeah, you can vote, comment, heads or tails.
Creep of the weeks, current
case.
cases.
Yep.
You get some backstage passes to what we got going on over
That's
here.
That's right. Stuff we don't post on our regular socials. Mm-hmm. It's cool. And you can follow, and it's patreon.com/Canadian Creepies. Also speakpipe.com/Canadian Creepies. Hop on that. Send us a voice note.
Val really does listen to and read everything you send.
Everything, even the mean stuff.
Although Kyle does do a pretty good job of filtering that stuff out.
Yeah, we haven't got much, I should say. I make it seem like I'm being bullied. No, we haven't gotten much mean stuff. And you can follow Amanda down the crooked path
on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
And you can follow Christine, Canadian Creepies researcher. Mm-hmm. Me, Canadian Creepies or Radio Valerie. If you can't find Canadian Creepies somewhere, you'll be able to find Radio Valerie, and that's where I post the Canadian Creepies content.
You can also find it through Down the Crooked Path as well.
You'll find me.
We're everywhere.
YouTube, you'll find us. Thanks so much. This was a great Christine research. 10 out of 10. No notes. No notes. Hooray. That's your job
Hooray
now.
And huzzah. Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for tuning into this week. We're coming back next week with part 3. It's looking like it might be like a 7-parter.
I know, she did. She went
It's perfect.
deep. She dove to the bottom of that pool and came back with all the rings.
With all of the rings. And we're going to tell you the colors of all the rings.
We got it.
That's right. Don't let the bed creeps bite.
Creep you later.